This message, it's about how do you begin to make this a new year for yourself? And you know that that can't happen unless there is a new you. And so over the next few days, I talked about a 7-day mental diet. The 7 days that you don't say anything negative, 7 days you don't think anything negative, 7 days that you look at your negative behavior and you catch yourself, you're mindful, you're vigilant, and you have to say, cancel that thought, cancel those words that I just spoke, that this is a time where you have to be vigilant to build a new you. And so we're talking about, this is it, just 7 days now, this is the next day. So it's something else to do that. A 7-day mental diet. A 7-day mental diet is not easy. It is not easy. And you see, because you'll find yourself, see, we can't control the thoughts that come in our minds, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell on. And so I want to talk to you about how to begin to create the major shift in your life and who you have to be and what you have to do. And so in doing that, when I start moving, hey, oh, how you doing, Dallas? Yeah, the light was in my eyes, I couldn't see it. Yeah. So as you look at yourself, look at your goals and dreams, what's going to be major right now is bringing about, what are the steps you need to take? What is it that you need to do to bring about building a new life? I thought about building a new life for myself when I was fired from radio, because that's what I knew. I mastered that when I did it. I'm not saying it because I'm being braggadocious, but people who heard me in Columbus, Ohio, during the time that I was on the air, they'll tell you, Mamie Brown's baby boy, he's a bad brother up in there. Nobody did it like I did it before me or since me. Nobody, period. All right? It's not true because I said it, but I said it because it's true. And so what we have to begin to embrace and to know is something that Socrates said. He said, the secret to change is to focus all your energy, all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but building the new you. Put all your energy, not fighting the old, but building the new you. So let's look at building the new you look like. What is it that you have to do in order to do that? Number one, self-awareness. Taking time to rethink your life. I've been up since around 3:30 this morning, just thinking about my life and my relationship with myself and the choices that I want and the things that I had envisioned that I would have accomplished in 2020, and I did not do that. And it was because of me. See, at the end of the day, all of us are the same. The only thing that separates us are the choices we make, the habits that we embrace. And I realized, and I want you to write this down, sacrifice. You've got to sacrifice who you've been in 2020. You got to sacrifice whoever that person was. You got to let it go. You got to sacrifice that and put all of your time and energy on building the new you. And building the new you, in my particular case, is more discipline. In my particular case, in monitoring myself and my progress, staying on top of it, watching, am I doing well? Am I moving and in the direction where I want to move? Because if I do that, cancer would be history in my life. History. I'm not comfortable with having cancer on the ropes for 29 years, 4th stage cancer. No. My goal is to knock it out. And that's on me. Cancer's not playing, I'm not playing. And so to focus my mind on that, to give up the things that will distract me from doing that, to make the sacrifice of some things that I enjoy doing, but I can't afford to do it because it's soaking up time, and time is life. Time is life. You have something special. You have greatness in you. And you have the ability to create and design the kind of life that you want. And in this place where we are right now, things have changed dramatically. And so you have to make a dramatic change in yourself in order to accomplish the things that you want. What does that look like? What is it you have to do? In my case, mine and my battle has been with cancer, 4th stage. That looks like intensifying my efforts and monitoring everything that I eat. It has to be organic. But my state of mind, keeping stress to a minimum. I don't play that. Anything that's unhealthy, anybody that's unhealthy for me, I cut off the relationship. I don't ask them, why did you do that? I cut it off. Why? It's my life. See, we got enough to deal with. When you got the coronavirus that has now mutated into another lethal form and easier to spread, that kind of tension and stress by itself is enough. So you're not given the luxury of accommodating toxic, negative people in your life if you want to live. I want to live. I remember years ago, I read this book called Who's the Matter with Me? You've had people say, you make me sick. That's real. There are people who can do that to you if you allow them to do that. And you have to put your foot down and say, I don't do drama. Don't come up here with that. I don't do drama. And you don't have to defend that. See, there is no duplicate for life. You only get one. And so you want to live it to the fullest. You want to have special moments. You want to have peace of mind. 47% of Americans can't get a good night's sleep. And I've been one of them. Bobby, you have to work at it. Here's something else. Make a conscious effort to look at and recruit people in your life that you know that have been good to you, that you need to deepen that relationship, that they bring out the best in you, they inspire you, they make you feel good about yourself, y'all have fun together. You want to reach out to those people and schedule some time to see each other virtually each week, where you have individual and collective goals that you're working on. I'm doing that with my family and with my clients. I'm working with them. And that's why I would like to say to those of you that would like for me to coach you and like to be in a community of greatness, I want you to put hungry in the comments section. If you like to work with me, if you like for me to be your coach and this first 90 days, teach you some of the things I've learned. I'm 75, and so I've learned some things. I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. Let me share something with you. When you upgrade your relationships, when you make it a point to consciously get toxic, negative, energy-draining people who have a propensity for creating drama out of your life. Sometimes you don't even realize how toxic some relationships are until you get out from under them. And I'm sure you've had the experience when somebody who created a whole lot of problems for you and something happened, and when it ended, you say, whoa, I had no idea. friend of mine, her husband died. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. She said, oh, no, don't be. What? No, I'm glad he go, honey. I'm glad he go. No. Don't be sad for me. Don't be sad for my loss. So that was real good. God, well, look at God. He answered prayers. I was shocked. And another friend, I saw the plane, and she had gone through a divorce. I said, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. She said, don't be. No. I have peace of mind, honey. It's better to be alone than to wish you were. I've heard you say that, and that's real. That relationship was turning my hair gray. I gained an extra 65 pounds. No, I'm good. I'm fine, all by myself. I mean, this thing called life, Corona. She has everybody rethinking stuff up in here. Rethinking. People looking at each other and saying, I don't know if I want to do this for another 20 years. You looking too healthy. Yeah. I thought I could hang in there, but no. You taking too many vitamins and things. Look like you want to live. No. Here's the other thing. Do something that's you. When I look at my life, and I really want you to look at this and think about this when I'm through. Do something that the future you will say, thank you for making that decision. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking your life in a new direction. That's what you want your future self to say. Because in my case, I decided I was going to do something I love. My calling is to speak. My calling is to train speakers. My calling is to change lives. I decided consciously I was going to find a way to do it. One, I invested in myself. This will not be a new year unless you learn something this year that will have a dramatic impact on your life that you did not know last year, that will allow you to take care of yourself, that allow you to control your own personal economy, that allow you to call your own shots, that allow you to have peace of mind. Most people, they're through with the celebration. They forgot what their New Year's resolutions were. No. You listen to me for 90 days, mental resolve is major now. People having meltdowns, snapping, blanking out. Mental resolve is major now. It's a series that I've done on how you can choose the future that you want rather than the future that's already set in place and that's delivered to you and you just step into. You don't want to do that. No, you're only given one life. You want to create. We're created by the Creator to create. And sometimes we just go to sleep at the wheel of life. You don't want to do that. You want to wake up. And every move you make, you want to make it meaningful. Every move you make, you want to mean something. Everything you do, you want some payoff out of it. You went through too much in 2020 not to make 2021 the best year on the planet. You went through too much to get here. Let me tell you. I mean, that Corona, she ain't playing, but we're not playing either. In order to create the life you want, it requires sacrifice. It requires discipline. It requires expanding the time that you spend with yourself, looking at yourself and asking yourself the question, is this the life that I want to live? Is this me? Is this relationship me? Where I'm living, is this environment me? The job that I'm doing to provide for myself or my family, is that me? Do I have some other options? Absolutely. Then do that which is you. Don't be a member of the woulda, shoulda, coulda club. No, or I would if, I should if. Come on, no, that doesn't work. No, only put off for tomorrow the things that you're okay with dying in you today. You have something special. And you are here. We are here because of God's grace and mercy. We are here to do the greater work. And feel good about that. Feel good if you're still reeling from 2020. I know I'm still reeling from it. I'm saying, whew, it couldn't end fast enough for me. I'm telling you. And so this time, as you look behind and thank God that you made it, look around and praise God. See the new opportunities, doors open that you did not see. And look within. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Go within and seek God and look ahead. Follow God. Let him order your steps, because this is your time. You've gone through too much hell for 2021 not to be your time. Get it done in 21. You got to come at it with a vengeance. Take no prisoners and eat the wounded. Get it done in 21. Oh no, Corona, don't try and come up here. I don't care how many cousins you got and how many mutations you got up in here. I'm not no fool. I'm gonna keep social distancing. I'm gonna do the things that I need to do to live, to be here and stay away from those crazies, but I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna do some things that I dreamed about and things I've been putting off and make it happen. Find a way. People are being creative now, unlike anything we've seen before. Because when you are locked down, you can't move around, you come up with all kind of stuff. I'm just reading where a guy was he was in confinement, in prison, in solitary confinement. And he used that time productively to study math and came up with some masterful mathematical equations solving problems that people who were not in prison in solitary confinement haven't done. The genius, he took that time to think rather than be in despair. He took that time to be productive rather than just sit in solitary confinement and beat his head up against a wall. Yeah, they imprisoned him, but they didn't imprison his mind. You got a mind. Be ye not conformed to this world. Oh yes, don't allow your mind to be the victim of weapons of mass distractions. You got work to do. You're on a mission possible. This is your time. Get excited about it. Sit down. You know what I do in the morning? I said, all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. Next thing I say, Lord, whatever I face today, together you and I can handle it. Next thing I do, I review the 7 things that I want to get out of the day. 7 things that I want to get out of the day. Most people just want to get through the day. See, if you don't have an agenda for your life, you're going to be a part of somebody else's agenda. Okay? And the next thing that's very, very important, make a commitment to learn something today that you didn't know yesterday. Make a commitment before you go to bed tonight that there's something new that you have learned. If you develop those habits, let me share something with you. The opportunities of creating joy, love, happiness, and excitement are unlimited. I want to share something with you that I'm looking at, and maybe it won't hit you as hard as it's hitting me right now. It seems like time has picked up speed. And if you got some bills, you don't get 30 days out of the month. You get 2 weeks. Didn't I just pay that? No. Come on. Where did time go? You were 77. Who does that? Wow, I served at the Lord's Supper. Time has picked up speed. This is a different time. I want to share with you and want to talk to you about something. Do what's you. Make your life count on doing the things that's true to you. What I love about the presenters that are talking to you are people who have overcome some stuff, who have grown through some stuff and decided that will not make me or break me, but I'm going to use my voice and my story and my example to empower people, because a lot of people need it. Some people will hear me. Some people will hear Tracy. Some people will hear Makuba. Some people will hear you. We all have a voice. We all can impact people's lives. And so as you look at yourself, look at your goals, look at your dreams, do things that's true to you. Now, let me share something else with you. I think the most important message that I have ever given, I would say the most important statement, and I want you to write this down and put it somewhere where you can see it. Because these individuals that you see, they're trainers, they're consultants, they have a variety of knowledge and abilities and skills. I endorse them, I support what they're doing, and I know that they're going to make a difference for you, for your company, for your church, for your organization, because I get the chance to see them up close and personal. We are processed, we are working on our stuff, including me. Live your life the way you want to live your life. I spoke to a group yesterday, and I asked, if you had 3 months to live, what would you do differently? And all of them, 100% said, I would quit my job. If I knew I had 3 months to live, I would start doing more programs. I would speak more. I'll be on Twitter, on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. I've been doing all of them. Let me tell you something. Listen, why? Because I'm doing what I love to do. If you spend 40 to 50 hours a week doing something that's not you, that's stressful. But if you're doing something that's you, that's passion, honey. Or you go rob the cemetery of your talents, of your abilities, of the gifts that God put in you, that He brought you here at this point in time to help clean some of this mess up. And these individuals have answered the call on their life. And I'm encouraging you. What's in your heart? Do what's in your heart. Where your heart is, there your treasure is also. Yeah. See, the reason that I'm excited about these speakers, and we're going to be sharing stages around the world, that we're living in an incredible time. I remember speaking in 4 or 5 different cities. I have to get on airplanes and go from city to city, hotel to hotel. Now, we can just do it in the comfort of our home. And so what they're doing is paving the way, because we're going from brick and mortar to click and order. Now, we can reach people, we can help people to achieve mental health and wellness, helping people to develop strategies and the new skill set for this new space where we are. These people have put in a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort. So I don't want you to just listen to them. I want you to write down information, take some notes, and get contact information so that you can incorporate their services for your business, for yourself, or for your organization, and for things that you believe in and causes that you support. Here's something else. Make every day count. I was talking to someone today, and they said, well, let's get together in 2 weeks. I said, no. I said, you just told me you're an hour and a half away. I say, let's do this right away. I remember when Michael Jackson said, this is it, after procrastinating and putting off going on tour. But it was not the it he had in mind.
And the older you become, the more calls you get about people who are gone. I remember my high school teacher, Mr. Washington, and he was an unusual guy. We told him, hey, did you hear Mr. Hayes died unexpectedly? And he said, Leslie? I said, yes, sir. No one dies unexpectedly. We all gonna die. I said, oh, we have an expiration date. And so I'm encouraging you, make every day count. It said it's not the number of breaths that we take, but the number of breaths that moments and events that take our breath away. Here's something I'm doing now, and I encourage you to do. I heard something that shocked me, and I didn't like the guy's voice, and I heard what he had to say accidentally. He was talking to this couple, and he asked them, I'd like to give you $1 million. How do you feel? They said, wow, I'm excited. The husband said, yes. And he asked, why are you excited? He said, $1 million? He said, I know what I'm going to do with it. He said, I got something else better for you. And they said, what? I'm going to give you $10 million. How would you feel? He said, great. Wow. I would be, off the hook. That would blow my mind. He said, there's one hitch. And they said, okay, what is it? I'm going to give you $10 million today, but you won't wake up tomorrow. You'll be dead. Do you still want it? They said, no. You wouldn't accept $10 million today? 10 million, that's 10 times 1 million. You would pass on that? You saying, I will be dead tomorrow? Yes, you'll be dead tomorrow. He said, no. He said, so you're saying when you wake up in the morning that you got life, that's equivalent to having $10 billion, that you're still here. Oh, stuff's gonna happen to you, but you're still here. You're gonna have setbacks. You're gonna lose money. People are gonna betray you. Things are gonna happen that you won't see coming. But each morning that you wake up, you got a chance to work on it. You got another shot. You got some more time that you've been given by God to begin to straighten things up in your life. Every day you should be excited because you're a billionaire, you're a trillionaire, because you got life. Wow. As Della Toro would say, I'll wait. I never thought it like that. I never thought about it like that. So when I wake up in the morning, I woke up this morning, I said, whoa, there's some billionaires that's pushing up daisies. Oh, I'm glad to be here. And I know a lot of others that would love to be here. And I still got a chance to serve. I still got a chance to make my life count. I know that my life has an expiration date, but I'm here now. I'm not going to focus on when I'm gone. I'm going to focus on what do I do with what I have. I'm going to live my life the way I want to leave my life. So these speakers, they answered a call on their lives. They said, I want to live my life the way that I want to leave my life. I'm going to change some lives before I leave here. I'm going to inspire some people. I'm going to bring out the greatness in some folks. I'm going to let people know that their adversities don't have to break them. They can make them stronger. I want them to be able to live their dreams by making a statement and taking a stand with the life that they've decided to choose to leave the world in better shape than how they found it for their children and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren. You have something special. You have greatness in you. I want you to think about the fact that you are still here, that God has something in mind. A lot of people out of here. People dying today who never died before. Come on. Oh, behave. And I decided, write this down, smile in spite of. Why? I got some stuff going on. I got some challenges that I'm facing. But you know what? Even homely people look better when they smile. Watch this. Smile at somebody on your right or left. And if they're already smiling when you look over there, you the homely one. This thing called life is for living, for laughing. Live the life you love and love the life you live. And decide that you're going to do what you can with what you have to leave it in better shape than how you found it. You have something special. You have greatness in you. We've all had major disruptions in our lives because of this pandemic. And when you have a disruption, that requires transformation. I don't care how fast a caterpillar can run, it can never fly until it goes into a cocoon and experience a transformation. I want to talk to you about this place where we are. Sunday is Easter. And at this time of the year, it's about new beginnings. Remember, it seemed like it was just yesterday when it was January the 1st and we made resolutions, and studies indicate that only 8 out of 100 people kept their resolutions and made the goals and dreams they set for themselves become a reality. But they're 92% that they did not do that. They forgot it as fast as they claimed it. But for those of you that are serious, my message is not for everybody. My message is for that 8%. Those are the people that are serious. He that hath shall get, and he that hath not, even that he has shall be taken away. I want to talk to people who are ambitious. I want to talk to people to listen to me that are not willing to settle for life as it is. I want to talk to people who want to live life. It's one thing to survive, but what it takes to live, that requires a different set of skills. So one thing that I'm encouraging you to do, that I'm doing, is I'm taking time to work on me and to get to know more about me. Because if you don't know who you really are, as opposed to the kind of person you were before the world got its hands on you, if you don't know that, and you've bought into the culture that is designed to destroy your sense of self, when you don't have a sense of self, when you don't have a strong identity, that takes away your purpose and the meaning of your life, and that puts you on a path of self-destructive behavior. That's why you see so many young people and you look at it and say, you know what? Aliens do exist, and they don't know how to pull their pants up. So as you look at yourself, take the time and ask yourself, as you are living this life that you're living, is this me? Is this working for me? You ever been in a relationship where the relationship was working for the other person, but it wasn't working for you? You were in a relationship with somebody that's always there when they need you, but when you need them, they can't be found. It's a time for self-awareness. It's a time to elevate your relationships and your knowledge and your skills and the value that you bring. New beginnings. We always have a choice. Every day represents something that we can claim and say, I'm going to make the rest of my life the best of my life. Hey, it is true that we have at any moment in our lives, we can change directions. I was upset about something, and my business partner, he said to me, don't get angry, just be decisive. Don't get angry. Somebody betrayed my trust, somebody that I loved and believed in and had their back, and I thought they had mine, and it did not happen that way. Has that ever happened to you? And so I had to rethink the relationships that I have. And I had to ask the question, who can I count on and who should I count out? Because at the end of the day, this thing called life is like an elevator. The higher you go up, you have to stop and let some people off. Who is it in your life, as you just think about it right now, that you need to open the door for and stand there until you get off? So that they don't cramp your style, so that they don't toxify and pollute your mind with their toxic behavior. Yeah, we have to promise ourselves to hold ourselves to a higher standard. We pray as if everything depends upon God, but work as if everything depends upon us. Those are the words of Mary McLeod Bethune. You have something special, a time for new beginnings, to do inventory of yourself, to get access to the unlimited potential that's waiting for you to tap into it. As Dr. Miles Monroe would say, to rob the cemetery of your dreams, of your gifts, of your leadership, of your books, of your music. Yeah, you're here for a reason. There's something that would not be here. You're a missing piece of the puzzle. God needed your presence here at this point in time for our children and our children's children and for generations yet unborn. The time for new beginnings. What a blessing. We're here all because of God's grace and mercy. I say to you, honor yourself by looking at your life, taking personal inventory, and be honest with yourself. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And decide that you're going to upgrade your environment. Your environment affects you. Your environment, it can change you. Your environment matters. It begins to affect how you see yourself, and how you see yourself will be represented in your thoughts and your actions and the achievements that you make or you don't make. This is a time that requires new skills, new thinking, and a hunger to live your greatest life.
I want you to think about your life right now. I was reflecting on when I decided to become a professional speaker. I looked at my life and I just said, you know what? I want to do more. I want more. I want more for myself, my family, my mother, and I want to be in charge of my own destiny. And what I was doing at that time was not providing that. And it got to a point, I don't know whether or not you've ever been there, that just doing something 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, just to pay the bills, to keep a roof over my head, and for transportation and food on the table, it just didn't get it. I mean, if you can understand how I felt, it just didn't get it. I didn't find that fulfilling. One, I was doing something that wasn't me. And I was doing something to survive. What it takes to live versus what it takes to survive are two different things. And so here's what I realized, that if you're not willing to take a chance on you, if you're not willing to learn something and reach beyond your comfort zone so that you can explore some other possibilities for yourself, you'll never discover the greatness that you have within yourself to do more, to have more, and to experience more. So I wanted to see what else was out there for me other than what I was doing at the time. I was a salesperson at Sears, and they said, if you're the top salesperson, that you will get a promotion to be the sales manager. Well, I was the top salesperson for 6 months in a row, and they told me they couldn't promote me. I said, no, don't say you couldn't, just say you won't promote me. Well, they said, well, the reason is it will lower morale. Lower morale? Yes. Everybody in that area there would be very upset. I was the only raisin in a glass of milk, if you know what I mean. I said, what? I said, come on, you gotta be kidding me. No. We would love to give you the promotion. I said, excuse me, don't use the word give. I've earned this. 6 months in a row, I've earned this. You said, if you're the top performer, you will be selected for manager. Now you're changing the rules. Now I had a choice. They said I would lower morale. So I took a chance on me. I wonder what happened to the morale when the top performer left. And they had the unmitigated gall to ask me to train the people that they were going to put over me. I said, hello, do I look like Mr. Buckethead? No. Be a team player. No. You know, some people got nerve, you know what I mean? They got nerve up in here, up in here. I said, I got to do something that puts me in charge. If you want to be in charge of life, but I'm working from home now. This is what I do. When I'm not talking to you, you know what I'm doing? I'm speaking to corporations. I'm speaking to organizations. I'm speaking to different groups of people who want to be motivated and inspired, and helping them to create a sense of engagement and unification, even though they're separate geographically. And I'm doing that from the comfort of my home. I teach people how to use this computer to bring their personality through, their passion and their energy through, to create a significant emotional event. See, the reason I have the advantage of doing this than the average person, because I was in radio for many years. I couldn't see the people that I was talking to, and you do it after a certain period of time, you develop some skills intuitively that you know when you're connecting with people. And so that has given me a competitive edge, being in radio for so many years. That's why I'm teaching people now how to do virtual seminars and workshops now, and be successful at it. I'm successful at this, and one of the top impactful speakers doing this because of my background. Do something beyond your comfort zone. Learn something new so you can see what's in you. You got some more stuff back there, but you'll never find out what it is if you don't test yourself. And I was seeing these people speaking everywhere, and I said, I'm gonna put myself to the test. I look at them, they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like I do. And so part of the whole process, because I was listening to motivational messages on a regular basis, and I was getting fired up. Now, write this down. The people that are going to make it now, the people that are going to take advantage of this breakthrough. Listen, we work hard for where we are right now. Don't sleep this period now. Good times, they have an expiration date. Bad times, they have an expiration date. We just came through something. With the election of 2 senators, the scale has tilted. The force of evil has been subdued. Listen what I said. Not destroyed, but subdued. It will raise its ugly head again. So you want to maximize this time. You want to milk this moment. You want to make your move right now. And one of the things that I do, and I encourage my kids to do, when I make some money, I operate like I don't have a dime. Like I don't have a dime. I start working harder. And this is what you have to do. The people that are going to be successful are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. What is it that most people won't do? Here's what they won't do: learn something new. They're comfortable with what they're doing now. Well, I've been doing this for a long time. So, learn something new. If you're not willing to learn anything new, no one can help you. But if you're willing to learn something new, like I decided to do this, no one can stop you. I'm my own boss. I call my own shots. And I'm not saying this to you to impress you, but to impress upon you that you got it like that too. And that's why I'll train you how to do that, how to use your voice, how to use your gift of gab, how to use your knowledge and your skills. People with knowledge and skills are working for corporations. You need to learn how to work for yourself from home virtually and control your own destiny. Be your own boss. That's what time it is. Here's something else. I discourage you. Don't do this if you're not hungry. Did you hear what I just said? Now, I just told you you ought to do this, right? And then right after that, come on, Les, what are you saying now? You're telling me don't do it if? Yes. If you're not hungry. If you're going to make it today, you got to be hungry. The 47 million people are going to lose their jobs from artificial intelligence. Millions of people have lost their jobs because of coronavirus. You think you're the only one out here? No. It's a different market right now. It's different. There are people that are desperate, going through foreclosures and evictions, lost their jobs, lost their businesses. So the people that are going to come out on top, the people that will snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, they're hungry. When I came out here, I was hungry. I got 5 sons and 5 daughters and a mother that I want to take care of and buy a home for. You got to be hungry. People that are hungry are relentless. You got to get your hustle on. People that are hungry are the first ones there and the last ones to leave. Most people not hungry. Most people are conditioned to do just enough to keep from getting fired, working in an environment where they've been paid just enough to keep from quitting. It takes some time to step out of that mental conditioning. People that are hungry, when I worked for WVKO, I was the program director, I was news director, I was manager of station operation, I did commercials, I did editorials. I did a talk show, The Voice of the People. Whole lot of stuff that they didn't pay me for. Why, Les? Because I wanted to learn. I wanted to make myself indispensable. That's why. That's why I did it. I wanted to make myself more valuable and increase my value for the operation. You have to have that kind of attitude about life. That are you increasing your value every day? If you were on the stock market, would you invest in you? Most people have to say no. Why? They're not reading anything. They're not learning anything new. They're operating within their comfort zone, and they're praying every day that they don't lose a job that they hate. That's what you call mixed emotions. See somebody you hate drive off a cliff in your car. You're glad they're gone, but not in your car. Oh, behave, hello, whatever. No, it's a different place now. You gotta be hungry. You have to get your stuff together. Average is over. The being average, doing just enough to get by, no. And when I talk to people, I can ask certain questions. I can tell the hungry ones and the ones who are slackers. And they're everywhere. The pigeons. See, today, employers are looking for eagles. You go outside right now and see some pigeons, but it's going to take a minute to see some eagles because they fly high. This is what time it is. And when you look at yourself, look at your goals, look at your dreams, this time demands that you get outside of your comfort zone. This time requires that you invest in you. That's what I was willing to do. The people that will be successful are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. People who are not successful have large television screens, and people who are successful have large libraries. Hello? Oh, people who are hungry are willing to discipline themselves. They're willing to dedicate themselves to learn something different. See, anything can be mastered if you're willing to put in the time and put in the effort and focus yourself on learning how to do that to make yourself stand out. In the attention economy, this is the attention economy. You got to make yourself stand out. Yes, you just can't mosey through this time and think you're going to get some customers. So you have to think in terms of market takeaway. What value are you bringing that's superior to everybody else? You've got to operate out of the thinking of Henry David Thoreau. Do not go where the path may lead. Go where there's no path and leave a trail. You got to set a new standard.
Good morning, everyone. Let me ask you something. How many of you have been in a situation that felt like it was too much to handle? Maybe it was a setback, a loss, or a moment where the ground felt like it was crumbling beneath you. Raise your hand if you've been there. Here's the truth everyone has. Life throws curveballs. But today I want to remind you of something that will completely shift how you navigate those moments. Are you ready for it? It's this: trust God. Not just when it's easy. Not just when things are going your way. Trust God in every situation. I know some of you might be thinking, easier said than done, and you're right, trusting isn't always easy, but it's powerful. Trust is the bridge between where you are and where you're meant to be. Think about it when we're in a tough spot. Our minds love to play tricks on us. Fear screams, it's over, doubt whispers, you can't do this, but trust in God says, this isn't your final destination, it's a stepping stone. Let me tell you something, trusting God isn't about pretending the problem doesn't exist. It's not about denial. It's about understanding that there's a bigger picture you might not see yet. Imagine you're holding a puzzle piece in your hand. It's jagged, it's odd-shaped, and it makes no sense on its own. But when you trust the Creator, you know that piece has a purpose in the bigger masterpiece. Now, here's what's critical: trust is an action. It's not passive. It's not sitting back and saying, I hope something happens. Trusting God means taking bold steps forward, even when you can't see the whole staircase. It's about praying and then preparing, believing and then building. Here's a real life truth bomb. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And when you choose to trust God in the storm, you're saying, I refuse to let this storm sink my ship. Let me share a quick story with you. There was a man who lost his job, his savings, and nearly everything else. He had every reason to give up. But instead, he trusted that God had a plan. He used his time to grow, to learn, to serve others, and to prepare for the opportunities ahead. Months later, a door opened, not just any door, a door that aligned perfectly with his talents, his passion, and his calling. He didn't just recover, he soared higher than ever before. What would have happened if he hadn't trusted? He could have stayed stuck. He could have let fear paralyze him. But trust was his turning point. You have the same choice today. No matter what you're facing, whether it's a challenge in your relationships, your career, your health, or even your faith, you can choose trust. It's a daily decision. Every morning you can wake up and say, I don't have all the answers, but I know the one who does. When you trust God in every situation, something incredible happens. You become unstoppable. Fear loses its grip, worry takes a back seat, and faith becomes your fuel. So today I challenge you to lean into trust. Speak it out loud, walk in it. Remind yourself that even when the path looks uncertain, the one guiding you has never failed. Say it with me, I will trust God in every situation. Louder, feel it. I will trust God in every situation. When you leave here today, walk with that trust. Face the challenges with boldness. Know that your setbacks are setups for your comeback. And remember, the story God is writing for you is so much bigger than the chapter you're in right now. You've got this. Trust Him and watch your life transform. Trust is the bridge between your struggle and your breakthrough. It is the unseen force that carries you over the chasm of uncertainty, fear, and doubt to a place of stability, peace, and triumph. Trust doesn't always come naturally. It requires intentionality. It asks you to let go of control, to release your grip on the things you cannot change, and to surrender them to the one who holds everything in His hands. In life, struggles are inevitable. They appear in various forms: financial troubles, health challenges, relationship conflicts, or even internal battles with self-doubt and fear. When you are in the middle of those struggles, the temptation is to let your emotions take over, to lean into worry, anxiety, and despair. But trust is the antidote to those feelings. Trust shifts your focus away from the problem and toward the promise. When you trust, you are making a conscious decision to believe in something greater than yourself. You are acknowledging that there is a higher power working on your behalf, even when you cannot see the outcome. Trust acts as a stabilizing force in the chaos, grounding you in the assurance that your current struggle is not the end of your story. It gives you the courage to keep going, even when the road ahead feels uncertain. Trust allows you to see beyond the immediate pain or challenge and to hold on to the hope that breakthrough is possible. Consider this: when you stand on one side of a canyon, the distance between where you are and where you want to be can feel overwhelming. The gap is intimidating, the drop below is terrifying, and the other side can feel impossibly far away. But a bridge changes everything. That bridge provides a path, a way to move forward even in the face of fear. Trust operates the same way. It becomes the bridge that connects you to your breakthrough. Without trust, you remain stuck, paralyzed by the enormity of your struggle. But with trust, you take that first step onto the bridge, knowing that each step brings you closer to the other side. Trust doesn't mean you will have all the answers. It doesn't require you to know how every piece will fall into place. In fact, trust thrives in the unknown. It is in the moments of uncertainty that trust becomes most powerful. When you can't see the outcome, but you still choose to believe that God is working on your behalf, that's when trust grows deeper. It is a muscle that strengthens with use. The more you rely on it, the more resilient you become in the face of challenges. Trust transforms your perspective. It takes your focus off the size of your problem and places it on the size of your God. Struggles often come with a sense of isolation. You may feel like you are the only one going through what you are experiencing. You may wonder if anyone truly understands or if there is a way out. But trust reminds you that you are never alone. It reminds you that God is with you, guiding you, even when you can't feel His presence. Trust is the evidence of your faith in action. It says, I don't need to see the whole picture to believe that the picture is good. Breakthroughs don't happen by accident. They require a willingness to push through discomfort, to keep moving even when it feels like progress is slow. Trust is what keeps you moving. It is the internal assurance that every step, no matter how small, is taking you closer to where you are meant to be. Trust doesn't eliminate the struggle, but it changes how you experience it. It shifts your mindset from one of defeat to one of determination. Think about the story of a seed. When a seed is planted, it is buried in darkness. It is surrounded by soil, unable to see the light above. To the outside observer, it may look as though nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, there is growth. The seed is transforming, stretching, and pushing its way upward. That growth is not visible until the seed breaks through the soil. Your struggles are like that soil, and trust is what allows you to keep growing, even when you can't yet see the results. Trust fuels your faith that breakthrough is on its way. Sometimes trust requires patience. It asks you to wait, even when waiting feels uncomfortable. In a world that values instant gratification, waiting can feel like a struggle in itself. But trust understands that timing matters. It recognizes that breakthrough comes at the right time, not necessarily your time. Trust teaches you to be still, to rest in the knowledge that God's timing is perfect. It frees you from the need to rush, to force things to happen, and instead allows you to move with grace and confidence. Trust is also about letting go of the need to control. Control is an illusion that often leads to frustration and disappointment. When you try to control every aspect of your life, you put an immense amount of pressure on yourself. Trust releases that pressure. It invites you to surrender your plans, your fears, and your doubts to the one who sees the bigger picture. Trust doesn't mean you stop taking action. It means you take action with the understanding that the results are in God's hands. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength. It shows that you are willing to rely on a power greater than yourself. In the midst of a struggle, it can be tempting to focus on what you lack of resources, lack of support, lack of clarity. But trust shifts your focus to what you have. It reminds you that you have the strength to persevere, the resilience to adapt, and the faith to believe in a better outcome. Trust helps you see the opportunities hidden within the obstacles. It opens your eyes to the lessons that struggles often bring. Every challenge has the potential to teach you something valuable, to prepare you for what's ahead. Trust also builds confidence. When you trust God, you begin to see evidence of His faithfulness in your life. You recognize the times He has brought you through past struggles, and that recognition strengthens your belief that He will do it again. Each breakthrough becomes a reminder that trust is worth it, that it leads to growth and transformation. Trust is not a one-time decision, it is a daily choice. It is a commitment to believe, even when circumstances try to shake your faith. It is a declaration that your struggles do not define you, that they are merely a part of your journey. Trust gives you the resilience to face challenges with courage, to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear. When you choose trust, you align yourself with the truth that God is always working on your behalf. You may not see it immediately, but trust assures you that the work is happening. It reminds you that every struggle has a purpose, every delay has meaning, and every breakthrough is on its way. Trust is the bridge that carries you from where you are to where you are meant to be. It is the connection between your current struggle and your eventual breakthrough. Without it, you remain stuck, but with it, you find the strength to move forward, one step at a time. Faith isn't passive, it's action backed by belief in God's plan. It's easy to talk about faith when things are going well. When life is smooth, it seems like faith is a natural part of the journey. But when the storm clouds gather, when the winds of uncertainty blow, that's when the true power of faith is tested. Real faith is not a static belief, it's a dynamic, living force that compels us to move, to act, and to live as if we believe that God is in control, even when the circumstances suggest otherwise. You see, faith requires movement. It calls us to step out of our comfort zones and into the unknown, trusting that God is leading us even when we can't see the path clearly. The Bible is filled with stories of individuals who had to take bold steps in the face of uncertainty. Consider Abraham. God told him to leave everything he knew, his home, his family, his security, and journey to a land that God would show him. Abraham didn't wait until he had all the details. He acted on the faith that God would fulfill his promises. That kind of faith isn't passive. It doesn't sit back and wait for the answer to come. It takes action, it moves forward, and it trusts that each step is part of a greater plan. When we live by faith, we live with the understanding that our actions are not based on what we can see with our natural eyes, but on the belief that God's plan is unfolding behind the scenes. It is a belief in the unseen, in the things hoped for, even when there is no tangible evidence. But the power of faith isn't in its passivity, it's in the way it moves us. Faith isn't just a feeling or a thought, it's an active decision to trust, even when the world around us says something different. It's a decision to act on what we believe, even when the circumstances seem to contradict our beliefs. Think about Peter walking on water. The disciples were in a boat in the middle of a storm. They saw Jesus walking toward them, and Peter, full of faith, said, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." Jesus called him out, and Peter stepped out of the boat. For a moment, he walked on water. His faith had brought him to a place where he was defying nature itself. But as soon as he took his eyes off Jesus and focused on the wind and the waves, he began to sink. Why? Because faith is only powerful when it is acted upon. When Peter took that first step, his faith was alive, active, and moving him forward. But when he allowed doubt to creep in, when he allowed his circumstances to dictate his faith, he began to sink. Faith calls us to keep our eyes fixed on God, not on the storms around us. The moment we begin to focus on the challenges, the obstacles, and the uncertainties, our faith weakens. But when we keep our focus on God and trust in His plan, faith becomes the foundation upon which we can stand, even in the most turbulent of times. This is the difference between passive belief and active faith. Passive belief sits back and waits for things to change. It says, if God wants me to have it, it will come. But active faith says, I believe God's promise, so I am going to take steps toward it, even if I don't see the full picture yet. Faith requires us to take risks. It's easy to act when the way is clear and the path is obvious. But faith often requires us to step into the unknown, to make decisions without seeing all the details, and to trust that God will provide every step of the way. Faith is not about having a perfect plan, it's about trusting God with the plan, even when we don't understand it. The Bible says without faith, it is impossible to please God, Hebrews 11:6. Why? Because faith is the proof that we believe God is who He says He is, and that He will do what He has promised to do. Faith is an active expression of trust. It says, I believe in the character of God, and because I believe in His character, I will act as if I believe His promises are true. Faith often requires sacrifice. It requires us to let go of our own plans, our own comfort, and our own understanding in order to follow the path God has laid before us. This is where many people falter. We want to hold on to what we know, what feels safe, what we can control. But faith requires us to let go of the illusion of control and step into the unknown, trusting that God will lead us to where we need to be. It's like Abraham again. He had to leave his home, his family, and everything he knew in order to step into God's promise. That wasn't easy. That took action. That took faith. When we take action on our faith, we are not simply waiting for God to do something for us. We are aligning our will with His. We are saying, God, I trust you so much that I am willing to take a step in the direction you are leading me, even if I don't have all the answers. Faith is not about sitting still and waiting for life to happen. It's about stepping out and moving forward, knowing that God is with us, guiding us, and empowering us to do things that we could never do on our own. Let's take a moment to think about the power of a mustard seed. Jesus said that faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains. A mustard seed is tiny, yet it holds the potential for great growth. Just a small amount of faith can have a profound impact on our lives. It's not the size of our faith that matters, it's the fact that we are willing to take action on that faith. A tiny seed, when planted, can grow into a mighty tree. Similarly, a small step of faith, when acted upon, can lead to massive breakthroughs. The power of faith is not in how much faith we have, but in our willingness to act on the faith we have, no matter how small it seems. Faith also teaches us perseverance. When things don't happen immediately, when the results don't come as quickly as we hope, faith keeps us moving forward. It says, I believe that God will bring His promises to pass in His timing, not mine. This kind of faith is relentless. It doesn't give up when faced with obstacles. It doesn't throw in the towel when things get difficult. Instead, it pushes forward, knowing that every step taken in faith brings us closer to the fulfillment of God's plan for our lives. Real faith is not about avoiding difficulties. It's about trusting God through them. It's about moving forward, even when the path seems unclear, knowing that each step of faith is a step towards something greater. When we take action on our faith, we are living as if we believe that God is who he says he is and that he will do what he has promised to do. We are not waiting for the storm to pass. We are trusting that God will lead us through the storm, stronger and more confident than before. Faith, when acted upon, has the power to transform our circumstances. It doesn't always change the situation immediately, but it changes how we see the situation. It shifts our perspective from one of fear and doubt to one of hope and trust. And when we move forward in that faith, we begin to see God's plan unfold before us. Faith isn't passive. It's the action that fuels the promise, the movement that activates the breakthrough. It's the living, breathing force that compels us to step out of the boat, walk on water, and move forward, even when the waves are high and the winds are fierce. You can't control the storm, but you can control how you respond to it. Life is full of storms. They come in all shapes and sizes: personal challenges, financial difficulties, health crises, relationship struggles, or internal battles with fear, anxiety, and doubt. Some storms seem to appear without warning, while others brew for months or even years. The reality is we all face these storms. What truly defines us is not the storm itself, but how we choose to respond to it. While we can't control the external circumstances or the difficulties that arise in life, we have the power to control how we navigate through them. When a storm hits, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, helpless, and out of control. The wind howls, the rain pours down, and the thunder crashes around us, shaking us to our core. It's in these moments that our true character is revealed. The question isn't whether the storm will come, the question is how we will respond when it does. Will we let the storm defeat us, or will we stand firm, grounded in the knowledge that we have the ability to endure and overcome? The key to surviving any storm is learning to respond, not react. Reaction is driven by emotion and fear. When we react, we allow ourselves to be swept away by the intensity of the moment, responding impulsively, often in ways that are not helpful or productive. But response is different. A response is thoughtful, deliberate, and based on a deeper understanding of who we are and what we believe. It is a choice. We can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we handle what happens. Our response can either strengthen us or weaken us. Think about the story of Jesus and his disciples on the stormy sea. They were crossing a lake when a fierce storm suddenly arose. The waves were crashing against the boat, and the disciples were terrified, convinced that they were about to perish. Meanwhile, Jesus was asleep in the back of the boat. When the disciples woke him, they were frantic, asking, "Lord, don't you care that we're going to drown?" Jesus responded by calming the storm. But he also asked them, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" This story is not just about Jesus calming the storm, it's about how the disciples responded to the storm. In the midst of the chaos, they allowed fear and panic to take over. They were focused on the storm, not on the fact that Jesus, the Son of God, was right there with them. They had forgotten who they were with, and that lack of perspective led to their fear. Jesus, on the other hand, wasn't rattled by the storm. He was calm, peaceful, and confident in God's control over all circumstances. The difference between the disciples' response and Jesus' response highlights the power of perspective. Jesus didn't ignore the storm, but he wasn't afraid of it. His peace came from knowing that God was in control and that nothing was beyond his power. This is the lesson we must learn when we face storms in our own lives. The storm may be real, the danger may be real, but how we respond to it determines our outcome. It's not the storm itself that has the power to destroy us, it's our response to it. Do we allow the storm to overwhelm us? Or do we choose to trust that God is bigger than any challenge we face? One of the greatest mistakes people make when facing a storm is to try to control everything around them. We think that if we just fix this or that, we can prevent the storm from getting worse. We try to manipulate the situation, control the people involved, or change the course of events. But the reality is that we cannot control the storm. The winds will blow, the rain will fall, and sometimes the boat will rock. What we can control, however, is how we respond to the storm. When we shift our focus from trying to control the uncontrollable to managing our internal response, we free ourselves from the burden of trying to dictate the outcome. Instead of panicking, we can choose to remain calm, knowing that we have the power to weather the storm. The storm may be powerful, but it does not have the power to control our response unless we allow it to. One of the most powerful ways we can respond to a storm is by remaining anchored in our faith. Faith is not just something we turn to when things are easy, it is the foundation that holds us steady when the winds of life blow hardest. In the midst of the storm, our faith reminds us that we are not alone. It assures us that God is with us and that He is our refuge and strength. Psalm 46:1 says, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. This verse doesn't promise that we will be free from storms, but it assures us that when trouble comes, God is there to help us navigate through it. Faith allows us to take control of our response. It helps us to see the storm through a different lens, one where we trust that God has a purpose in every season. When we face difficulties, faith enables us to say, I may not understand why this is happening, but I know that God is in control and He will work all things for my good. This perspective shifts us from a place of fear to a place of peace, knowing that the storm, though powerful, is not greater than the one who holds the universe in His hands. Another way to respond effectively in the storm is by staying grounded in gratitude. In the midst of chaos, it can be difficult to find things to be thankful for. We may feel overwhelmed, discouraged, or even hopeless. But gratitude shifts our focus from the problem to the provision. It allows us to remember the blessings we still have, even in the hardest of times. When we choose to focus on what we are grateful for, we begin to shift our energy from a place of lack to a place of abundance. Gratitude also reminds us that no storm lasts forever. Every storm has a season. It may seem unrelenting in the moment, but eventually the winds will calm and the sun will shine again. Gratitude helps us to endure the storm with the knowledge that this too shall pass. We may not know when or how, but we know that the storm will eventually give way to brighter days. When we respond to storms with faith and gratitude, we build resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity, to rise stronger from life's challenges. It is not about avoiding storms, but about developing the strength to weather them with grace. Every storm we face is an opportunity to strengthen our resilience, to build our ability to handle life's challenges with confidence and trust in God's plan. The more we face and respond to life's storms, the more we learn how to stand firm in the face of adversity, knowing that we are not defined by the storm, but by how we choose to respond to it. At the end of the day, it is not the storm that shapes our future, but our response to it. We cannot control the external forces that come our way, but we can control how we choose to respond. By choosing faith over fear, gratitude over complaint, and trust over worry, we position ourselves to not only survive the storm, but to emerge from it stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Life's storms will come, but how we respond will determine whether we are swept away by them or whether we rise above them. God's timing is always perfect, even when we can't see it. In our fast-paced world, we are conditioned to expect immediate results. We want things to happen quickly, and we want things to go according to our plan. When life doesn't unfold on our timeline, it can be frustrating and even discouraging. We often find ourselves asking, why is this taking so long, or why isn't this happening the way I envisioned it? But the reality is that God's timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't align with our expectations. The thing about time is that we as human beings are bound by it. We operate on a schedule and we measure progress by the passing of days, weeks, and months. We have deadlines, goals, and benchmarks. However, God exists outside of time. He is not limited by the constraints we experience. He sees the beginning from the end, and His understanding of what's best for us is far beyond what we can comprehend in the moment. We may not always understand the reasons behind the delays or the waiting periods, but we can trust that God's timing is always aligned with His perfect plan for our lives. Consider the story of Abraham and Sarah. God promised Abraham that he would become the father of many nations. He was told that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars in the sky. But Abraham and Sarah were old, and Sarah had been barren her entire life. In their minds, the promise seemed impossible. The years passed, and still no child came. Eventually, they grew impatient, and in an attempt to fulfill God's promise on their own, they took matters into their own hands. Sarah suggested that Abraham have a child with her maidservant Hagar, and so Ishmael was born. While God still blessed Ishmael, he reaffirmed his promise to Abraham and Sarah, telling them that Sarah would bear a son, Isaac, in his perfect time. Abraham and Sarah's story is a powerful reminder that when we take matters into our own hands, we often delay the fulfillment of God's promises. Their impatience and doubt led them to a solution that was outside of God's plan. But even in that moment of human error, God's timing remained intact. The birth of Isaac came when it seemed impossible, when Abraham was 100 years old and Sarah was 90. It was then that the promise was fulfilled in a way that only God could have orchestrated. This story shows us that God's timing is not bound by our limitations and his plans are never delayed. Even in moments of waiting, he is working behind the scenes, preparing everything in the perfect moment. Another example is the story of Joseph. Joseph, the favorite son of Jacob, was betrayed by his brothers and sold into slavery. He spent years in Egypt, first as a servant in Potiphar's house, and then in prison, enduring hardship and isolation. Despite the challenges, Joseph's faith remained strong. But during all this time, God was preparing him for a higher purpose. Eventually, Joseph was elevated to a position of power in Egypt, second only to Pharaoh, and was able to save his family and an entire nation from famine. Looking back, Joseph could see how every step of his journey led to that moment. In Genesis 50:20, Joseph tells his brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Joseph's story is a testament to how God's timing works in ways we can't always understand at the time, but it all leads to a greater purpose. There are also countless examples throughout the Bible of people waiting for God's perfect timing. Think of the Israelites waiting in the wilderness for 40 years before entering the promised land. They had to endure hardship, disappointment, and frustration. But through it all, God was teaching them, refining them, and preparing them for what lay ahead. Even when the road seemed long, God was still present, still guiding them, and still fulfilling his promises. Our impatience and desire for immediate results can often cloud our understanding of God's timing. We may think that something should happen right away or that we should be further along in our journey by now. But God is not bound by our expectations. He is working in ways we cannot see, aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities in his time. Sometimes the delay is not a sign that God has forgotten us, but rather a sign that he is working to bring everything together at the perfect moment. There are also times when we may question God's timing because it doesn't align with our understanding of what's best for us. We may believe that we are ready for something, but God in his infinite wisdom knows that we are not. There are lessons that need to be learned, character that needs to be developed, and experiences that need to be had before we can step into the next phase of our lives. If we were to receive what we think we want too soon, it might not be the blessing we expect. It might even be something that we are not ready to handle, but in his perfect timing, God knows exactly when to bring us to the place where we are ready to receive the blessing he has for us. In moments of waiting, it can be difficult to trust that God is still in control. The longer we wait, the more we may feel discouraged, as if our prayers are going unanswered or our dreams are slipping away. But God's delays are not denials. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen. It just means that the timing is not right. While we wait, God is preparing us, molding us, and setting things into motion that we cannot see. We may not understand it now, but we can trust that he is working behind the scenes. Sometimes the most challenging part of waiting is the uncertainty. We don't know when our prayers will be answered or when our desires will be fulfilled. But this is where faith comes in. Faith is the assurance that even when we can't see it, God is still at work. It is the confidence that God's timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't make sense to us. Faith is what keeps us going when the waiting feels unbearable, and it is what sustains us when we are unsure of the next step. In the midst of waiting, we must remember that God is not distant or unaware of our struggles. He sees our pain, he understands our frustration, and he knows the desires of our hearts. And though the waiting may feel long, we can take comfort in knowing that he is right there with us. He has not abandoned us. His timing may not always align with our timing, but it is always aligned with his perfect plan for our lives. As we wait, we are called to trust. Trust that God knows what he is doing. Trust that he is working things out for our good. Trust that his timing will be worth the wait. and trust that when the moment comes, we will be ready. His timing is perfect because he is perfect. And in that trust, we find peace, knowing that he is always at work and that everything will come together exactly as it should in his time. When we face challenges in life, one of the most powerful tools we can use to overcome them is prayer. Prayer is not just a way to ask God for help, it is a way to build a deeper relationship with him, to align our hearts with his will, and to invite his strength into our circumstances. When we encounter struggles, it can be easy to focus on the size of the problem, to let fear and worry consume us. But prayer allows us to shift our focus from the problem to the solution, from our limited perspective to God's limitless power. It is in prayer that we find peace, guidance, and the strength to move forward, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. The power of prayer is not in the words we say, but in the faith behind those words. God is not looking for perfect prayers or eloquent speeches. He is looking for sincerity, humility, and trust. When we pray, we are acknowledging our dependence on him, recognizing that we cannot do everything on our own. Prayer is an act of surrender, a willingness to let go of our need for control and allow God to take charge. It is in this surrender that we open ourselves to his wisdom, his strength, and his peace. One of the most powerful aspects of prayer is its ability to provide clarity. When we face difficult decisions or situations, our minds can become clouded with confusion, doubt, and fear. We may feel overwhelmed by the many choices before us or unsure of what direction to take. In these moments, prayer allows us to step back, quiet our hearts, and listen for God's voice. It gives us the space to hear his guidance, to receive his direction, and to find the peace that surpasses understanding. Often, the answers to our questions don't come in an immediate rush of words, but in a quiet sense of peace that settles over us. Through prayer, God opens our eyes to see the situation from his perspective, and in doing so, he leads us toward the best path forward. In moments of pain or suffering, prayer also gives us a way to express our deepest emotions. Sometimes we are faced with situations that leave us feeling helpless, broken, or lost. In these times, it can be difficult to find the words to explain how we feel or what we need. But prayer doesn't require us to have all the answers or to put on a facade of strength. It is in our raw, unfiltered moments of vulnerability that God meets us with his comfort and love. The Bible tells us that the Holy Spirit intercedes for us when we don't know what to pray, Romans 8:26. When our hearts are too heavy for words, God knows what we need and meets us in our pain. Prayer becomes a refuge in those moments of grief, fear, or confusion, offering a space for us to pour out our hearts to God and trust that he will hold us through it all. In addition to providing clarity and comfort, prayer also strengthens our faith. When we pray, we are reminded of God's faithfulness and his past work in our lives. We remember the times he has come through for us, even when it seemed impossible. Each prayer answered, each step of guidance received, builds our trust in him and strengthens our belief in his ability to handle our current struggles. Even when it feels like our prayers are not being answered immediately, we can trust that God is at work behind the scenes, orchestrating things in his perfect timing. Prayer reminds us that God is always present, always listening, and always working for our good, even when we don't see it. Another important aspect of prayer is its ability to align our will with God's will. It is easy to pray for what we want, to present our requests and desires to God, but true prayer also involves surrendering our will to his. It is not about trying to bend God to our desires, but about submitting ourselves to his plans. Jesus modeled this in the Garden of Gethsemane when he prayed, "Not my will, but yours be done," Luke 22:42. Even though Jesus knew the great suffering he would face, he chose to surrender his will to the Father. This is the heart of true prayer, not just asking for what we want, but seeking God's will and trusting that his plan is always better than our own. As we pray, we align our hearts with his and we become more attuned to his voice, his desires, and his timing. Prayer transforms our hearts, helping us to see beyond our own limited understanding and to embrace God's greater purpose for our lives. In times of uncertainty, prayer is also a powerful tool for finding peace. The Bible encourages us to bring our anxieties to God in prayer, knowing that he will give us peace that transcends our understanding, Philippians 4:6-7. When we are overwhelmed by worry, fear, or doubt, prayer serves as a reminder that we don't have to carry those burdens on our own. We can cast our anxieties on God, knowing that he cares for us and will give us the strength to face whatever comes our way. Through prayer, we release our grip on the things we cannot control and place them in the hands of the one who is sovereign over all. This act of surrender brings a deep sense of peace, knowing that we are not alone in our struggles and that God is in control of the outcome. Prayer also deepens our sense of gratitude. It is easy to get caught up in the challenges and struggles of life and forget to be thankful for the blessings we have. But when we pray, we are reminded of the goodness of God and the countless ways He has been faithful to us. Prayer allows us to reflect on the many gifts we have been given: the love of family and friends, the provision we receive, the strength to face each day, and the hope of God's promises. As we take time to thank God for His blessings, we cultivate an attitude of gratitude that helps us to see beyond our problems and focus on the abundance in our lives. Gratitude, cultivated through prayer, shifts our perspective and helps us to approach life with a heart of thankfulness, even in the midst of difficulty. Furthermore, prayer is a tool that unites us with others. When we pray for others, we join in their burdens and partner with them in seeking God's intervention in their lives. Prayer connects us to the global body of Christ as we lift up the needs of others and intercede on their behalf. It is a reminder that we are not isolated in our struggles, but that we are part of a larger community of believers who support and encourage one another through prayer. When we pray for others, we are also reminded of the power of God to change lives and transform situations. Prayer is not just a personal act, it is a communal one, bringing us together in faith and unity. Ultimately, prayer is an invitation into a deeper relationship with God. It is not just a ritual or a routine, it is a conversation with the Creator of the universe. Through prayer, we experience God's presence in a tangible way, and we grow in our understanding of His love, His grace, and His faithfulness. It is through prayer that we draw closer to God, align ourselves with His will, and find the strength, peace, and guidance we need to navigate life's challenges. Prayer is not just a way to ask for help, it is a way to connect with the heart of God and experience His transformative power in our lives.
Ladies and gentlemen, every day we make choices that shape our future. But what if the real danger isn't what you're doing, but what you're refusing to stop? There are habits you've grown so used to they feel normal, harmless even. But these silent habits are quietly holding you back, draining your energy, stealing your focus, and keeping your dreams just out of reach. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on the 9 habits you must quit if you want to unlock your true potential. These aren't dramatic changes, they're the small shifts that separate those who stay stuck from those who rise. If you're serious about breaking through limits and creating a life of purpose, clarity, and success, keep watching, because quitting these habits could be the most powerful decision you ever make. Every morning you wake up with dreams burning inside, only to see them buried by night beneath exhaustion and regret. But what if the real danger to your future isn't failure, but the small, unnoticed choices you make each day? There are habits quietly stealing your time, draining your focus, and limiting your potential from within. These silent destroyers of growth blend into the background of daily life. Once you recognize them, you can't ignore them, and once you break free, your life will never look the same. If you're done living the same day on repeat, this is where the cycle stops. In the next few moments, you'll uncover the hidden habits silently holding you back and how to leave them behind for good. First, stop procrastinating. Understand this clearly. Procrastination isn't just a harmless delay. It's an invisible thief stealing your future. In those quiet moments when you set aside important tasks, something significant happens. Your potential slips away, bit by bit. This isn't simple postponement. It's the quiet surrender of what's possible. Every time you say, "I'll handle it tomorrow," you hand your dream over to time, and time doesn't care. It doesn't pause, it doesn't show mercy, and it never gives back what's lost. Minutes turn to hours, hours into days, and before long, years pass, and your biggest goals remain waiting on the sidelines. These delays aren't just forgotten moments, they add up, costing you the future you could have built. The people who shaped industries, built empires, and left lasting legacies didn't wait for the perfect time. They made their own conditions. They understood that ideal circumstances rarely appear on their own. The builders of history knew that waiting for the right time is a luxury that true ambition can't afford. Instead, they moved forward with what they had, turning challenges into stepping stones. Think of the inventor who didn't wait for inspiration to strike like lightning. He worked each day, following the faint light of his vision in the dark. His tireless experiments, trying thousands of materials before finding the right one, show the strength of steady action over bursts of motivation. His workspace wasn't a place for rare flashes of genius, but for daily effort driven by purpose. If you keep putting off the work that will make you great, you risk waking up one day surrounded not by achievements, but by regret. The real tragedy of procrastination isn't just missed chances, it's the lasting ache of what might have been. Those who delay meaningful action don't just lose out on accomplishments, they lose the person they had the power to become. The answer is action. Not endless planning, not constant preparation, not chasing perfection, just starting. The energy created by beginning, even imperfectly, carries you forward. What once felt overwhelming often becomes clear and manageable once you're moving. The mountain that looks so huge from afar turns into a path of steps the moment you begin the climb. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and achievement. It's the daily choice to honor your promises to yourself, especially when motivation fades. Discipline isn't about superhuman willpower. It's about building systems that make progress unavoidable. Breaking big tasks into smaller steps, shaping your environment to limit distractions, and setting up accountability, these are what move you forward. Deep down, you already know what needs to be done. Beneath the excuses and justifications, clarity is there. The path ahead isn't hidden by a lack of knowledge, but by hesitation to face temporary discomfort. Your instincts have already pointed out the next step. What's required now is the courage to take it. It's not more time you need, it's more courage. Courage to begin while others are still waiting. Starting before you feel ready is what sets apart the extraordinary from the ordinary. Those who change the world don't wait for fear to vanish. They act despite fear, letting purpose outweigh doubt. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who act. It rewards action, not intention. Your future achievements rely not on perfect plans, but on action taken today, even if it's imperfect. So ask yourself, will you keep waiting for the ideal moment, or will you choose to begin now? This moment, with all its flaws, holds the power you need to start. What you decide today shapes your tomorrow. Choose to act and watch doors you thought were closed begin to open. And stop fearing failure. Consider this, every person you admire has failed far more times than you've dared to try. The fear of failure is a prison of your own making, and you hold the key. We build these walls with every what if of doubt, each memory of past disappointment, and every imagined future embarrassment. And yet the door has always been unlocked, waiting for you to realize that failure isn't your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. The world doesn't remember how often someone fell. It remembers when they rose and stayed standing. History doesn't dwell on the mistakes of great figures, but on their breakthroughs and victories. One leader lost election after election, struggled in business, faced deep personal pain, and battled depression. Yet he never gave up and became one of history's most respected leaders. Why? Because failure didn't stop him. It drove him. This shift, seeing failure not as an end, but as part of the journey, is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who simply dream of it. When the inventor behind the light bulb was asked about his thousands of failed attempts, he famously said, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each failed try brought him closer to the solution that would light the world. When you fear failure, you hesitate, and hesitation is dangerous. It stalls your progress, dulls your passion, and silences your natural urge to create, explore, and grow. The energy meant to move you forward instead holds you back, trapping you in endless planning or overthinking. Without action, dreams stay dreams. Potential stays potential. And the gap between who you are and who you could become widens with every day that passes. But failure isn't the finish line. It's information, guidance, a chance to adjust. Every misstep teaches you something you couldn't learn any other way. The entrepreneur learns what the market doesn't want. The artist discovers which techniques fall short. The scientist finds out which ideas don't explain the truth. This knowledge, earned through the lessons of failure, becomes the foundation for future success. If your dream is worth pursuing, it's worth failing for. The size of your ambition should outweigh the sting of setbacks. True achievement demands risk, and with risk comes the chance of failure. By embracing this truth, you free yourself to chase bold goals without being trapped by perfectionism. Welcome the fall, because only through falling do we learn how to rise. Think of a child learning to walk. They stumble over and over, yet we don't label those tumbles as failures. We see them as essential steps in mastering a new skill. Bring this understanding into your adult pursuits. Each setback strengthens resilience, sharpens technique, and builds the mental toughness needed for lasting success. So next time fear asks, "What if you fail?" Smile and reply, "I'll learn, adjust, and try again, but better." This small shift turns the weight of possible failure from a burden into a steadying force, anchoring you in purpose while allowing you to move boldly toward your biggest aspirations. What once held you back becomes the very key to your freedom. Now quit the negative self-talk. You're always listening to yourself. But what are you saying? Many people lose the battle in their mind long before they ever face challenges in the world. The words you repeat silently shape your future. If you keep telling yourself you're not enough, eventually you'll stop trying. If you focus on your flaws, they'll grow, while your strengths fade into the background. Picture your mind as a garden. Every thought is a seed. Whether positive or negative, it takes root and grows. So what are you planting, weeds or flowers? Your thoughts don't just observe your life, they create it. Change your inner dialogue and your outer world changes too. Believing in yourself isn't arrogance, it's your duty. Because if you don't believe in your dream, why would anyone else? A great industrialist once said, "As a man thinks, so he becomes." This wasn't empty philosophy, it was practical advice about mastering your mindset. Your words shape how you see the world, and that shapes your reality. This isn't fantasy, it's psychological fact. The stories you tell yourself influence how you view challenges, setbacks, and possibilities. A setback can become a stepping stone or a stopping point. The choice lies in your inner narrative. Start today with a simple change. Replace "I can't" with "I'll figure it out." "I always fail" with "I'm still learning." These aren't just positive statements, they rewire the way you see and respond to life. When you speak power instead of doubt, everything shifts. Consider how many dreams have died not because they were impossible, but because someone convinced themselves they were. Your potential isn't limited by circumstances, it's limited by your thoughts about those circumstances. The gap between success and failure is often less about opportunity and more about outlook. This practice takes constant effort. Negative self-talk has likely been on autopilot for years. Breaking that pattern demands attention and choice. Each time you catch yourself slipping into limiting thoughts, stop and shift direction. This isn't about ignoring reality, it's about choosing which part of reality to focus on. The high achievers of history understood this. They faced the same fears and struggles as everyone else. The difference? They refused to let their inner voice tell a story of defeat. Instead, they deliberately shaped a narrative of possibility and persistence. Remember, your subconscious mind doesn't differentiate between what's vividly imagined and what's real. When you repeatedly tell yourself something is impossible, your mind looks for proof to support that belief. On the other hand, when you consistently affirm your ability, your mind starts finding ways to make it true. Your life moves in the direction of your most dominant thoughts, so choose them with care. Guard your mental garden against the weeds of doubt and fear. Nurture seeds of possibility and growth, because in the end, the most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you're having with yourself right now. Next, Stop surrounding yourself with toxic influences. Look closely at the people around you. Who do you spend the most time with? Are they fueling your growth or feeding your doubts? Are they lifting you up or holding you back? It's said that iron sharpens iron. But what if your circle is slowly rusting you instead? Many dreams have died not from lack of talent, but from harmful associations. One great innovator early in his journey was often mocked for his ideas. But he was wise. He chose to surround himself with those who believed not only in his vision, but in his ability to achieve it. That belief became his fuel. If your conversations revolve around gossip, complaining each day, but if your circle talks about ideas, growth, and action, you're nourishing your spirit. The quality of your discussions shapes the quality of your thinking, and that thinking ultimately shapes the quality of your life. Reflect for a moment on how you feel after different social interactions. Some leave you energized and filled with possibilities. Others leave you drained, discouraged, or doubting yourself. This isn't by chance. It's the natural effect of your environment. Research repeatedly shows that we become the average of the 5 people we spend most of our time with. How you think is the physiological effect of your environment. You see it in the 5 people you spend most of your time with. Their habits begin to shape ours. Their mindset colors our thoughts. Their limitations can become our excuses, or their courage can spark our inspiration. This isn't about thinking you're better than anyone or turning your back on people. You don't need to resent those you outgrow, but you do need to have the courage to outgrow them. Every relationship plays a role in your journey, but sometimes that role reaches its end. The hardest growth often comes when we realize that certain connections, even ones we've treasured for years, now stand in the way of who we're becoming. The comfort they offer can quietly become a cage, keeping us from the discomfort that leads to growth. You can't rise while holding on to what keeps you down. Every great achiever reaches this point, the moment when loyalty to their own potential must outweigh loyalty to relationships that no longer support their evolution. This doesn't mean cutting people off harshly. It means gradually spending more time with those who challenge and uplift you, while gently creating distance from those who don't. It means having honest conversations about your changing needs and boundaries. Choose your environment as if your life depends on it, because it does. The energy around you becomes the energy within you. Your mental ecosystem shapes which thoughts take root, which dreams thrive, and which beliefs fade. So make the hard choices. Protect your peace, stay aligned with your purpose, and surround yourself with excellence. Seek out people who have already done what you aim to do. Find communities where greatness is the norm, not the exception. Remember, pruning may be uncomfortable, but it's what allows for greater growth. By intentionally shaping your circle, you're not being selfish, you're preparing yourself to offer your best to the world. The right circle won't just support your dreams, they'll expand them. They'll challenge your limits, call out your excuses, and reflect back a braver version of you. Next, stop comparing yourself to others. One of the fastest ways to lose your joy is to measure it against someone else's highlight reel. Your path is yours alone. No 2 people begin at the same starting line, with the same resources, the same wounds, or the same purpose. So why drain your spirit by judging your progress by someone else's pace? It was once said that comparison is the thief of joy, and it's true. When you compare, you take your focus off your own mission. Imagine a racehorse constantly looking at the lanes beside him. He slows, stumbles, and eventually falls behind. Winners look ahead, and so should you. In today's digital age, it's easy to fall for the illusion that everyone else is thriving while you're falling behind. But behind every success story lies a hidden struggle, chapters filled with doubt, rejection, and persistence. The overnight success often took years to build. That perfect relationship weathered storms you'll never see. That dream career followed failures that didn't make it onto any feed. Your journey has its own timeline. Some flowers bloom in spring, others in summer or autumn. Would you question a rose for not blooming in winter? It blooms in its season, and so will you. Trust in your unique process. Celebrate progress over perfection. Focus on how far you've come, not where others are. The only person you need to outdo is the person you were yesterday. Small, steady improvements add up over time. The daily choice to show up, to keep learning, and to grow. That's real success. When comparison creeps in, gently refocus. Ask yourself, What can I celebrate about my path today? What strength have I built that I didn't have before? What small win deserves recognition? Your journey is your own masterpiece. Don't ruin it by tracing over someone else's design. Your life is meant to be original, not a copy. The world needs your authentic self, not another version of someone else. When you turn inward, you ignite your unique excellence. You uncover talents and possibilities that only emerge when you stop trying to imitate others. Your distinct mix of experiences, skills, and perspectives creates value no one else can. So stop looking left and right. Keep your eyes on your own path, your heart anchored in your purpose, and your steps aligned with your vision. That's how you win. Not by chasing someone else's race, but by mastering your own. True success is becoming the fullest version of yourself, not a copy of someone else's life. Run your race, paint your canvas, write your story, and find joy in the journey that is yours alone. Finally, stop overcommitting. Overcommitting is a quiet destroyer of productivity and peace. When you say yes to everything, you spread yourself thin and edge closer to burnout. It's vital to remember your time and energy are limited resources. By overloading your schedule, you don't just compromise the quality of your work, you also put your well-being at risk. Often we say yes out of fear of missing opportunities or disappointing others, or of appearing incapable. Yet this automatic agreement often produces the opposite of what we intend. In trying to do everything, we achieve little of real value and wear ourselves down in the process. Picture the entrepreneur who, eager to please, accepted more projects than they could handle. Deadlines slipped, quality suffered, and their reputation took a hit. What began as ambition turned into overwhelm, anxiety, and eventual failure. If they'd been more selective, they could have produced outstanding results on a few key projects rather than delivering mediocrity across many. Its pattern repeats everywhere. The employee who volunteers for every committee, the parent who signs up for every school event, the friend who never declines an invitation, all risk spreading themselves so thin that both quality and joy vanish. Learning to say no isn't about rejecting opportunities. It's about affirming your priorities. Every commitment is an investment of your most valuable resource, time. And once it's gone, you can't get it back. Before saying yes to anything new, pause and ask yourself, does this align with my core values and goals? Will it move me closer to what matters most? Can I take this on without sacrificing quality or my well-being? If the answer to any of these is no, it's wise to decline. Respectfully, but firmly. A clear no today prevents resentment, disappointment, and potential failure tomorrow. Evaluate each opportunity carefully. If it doesn't fit your vision or stretches you too thin, it's okay to say no. And you don't owe long explanations. A simple, I appreciate the offer, but I can't take this on right now, is enough. Most people respect honesty and clear boundaries far more than reluctant yeses. Mastering this skill requires self-awareness. Know your non-negotiables, the activities and relationships essential to your health, happiness, and purpose. Protect these without compromise. Then, be realistic about your capacity for additional commitments. Just as you wouldn't overload a boat beyond its safe limit, don't push yourself past what's sustainable. Boundaries protect your energy for what truly matters, allowing you to give your best without harming your health. The most successful people aren't those who do the most, they're the ones who focus on what matters most. Strangely, saying no often creates space for more meaningful yeses. With energy and focus preserved, you can fully engage with chosen commitments rather than spreading yourself too thin. This thoughtful approach brings deeper satisfaction, greater impact, and the steady pace required for long-term success. In a world that glorifies busyness and constant activity, choosing intentional action over endless obligation is a powerful act of self-respect. By mastering the art of saying no, you reclaim control of your time, your energy, and your future. Now, stop dwelling on the past. The past is meant to guide you, not to trap you. When you stay stuck on what's behind, you miss the light of today and the promise of tomorrow. Think of the inventor who faced countless failed prototypes. If he had obsessed over his mistakes, he would never have reached the breakthrough that changed industries. Thomas Edison famously tested thousands of materials before discovering the right filament for the electric light bulb. I have not failed, he said. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Each attempt offered knowledge, not defeat, stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. This shift in perspective is vital for anyone pursuing meaningful goals. Setbacks and failures are inevitable companions on the path to excellence. What separates the successful from the stagnant isn't the absence of mistakes, but their approach to them. The past becomes valuable data, not a burden. Every experience, whether a victory or a challenge, provides lessons to guide future decisions. Your history holds wisdom if you choose curiosity over criticism. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How might this prepare me for what's ahead? These questions allow you to draw value from even painful moments. A mind that constantly replays old wounds builds its own prison. Research shows that excessive rumination is linked to higher levels of anxiety and depression. In other words, the images and visualizations that you designate as bad from a previous event, your mental energy is limited. Every moment spent reliving regrets is energy stolen from creating future success. Letting go of the past grip frees you to seize present opportunities and build a future aligned with your aspirations. This isn't about forgetting or ignoring what happened. It's about redefining your relationship with it. Recognize the past, learn from it, and then shift your focus forward. Practical strategies can help foster this mindset. Start with present moment awareness. Stay engaged in what you're doing rather than drifting into memories. When regrets arise, notice them, but gently bring your attention back to the present. Consider journaling about your past to process it fully, then symbolically close that chapter. Embrace the idea that every day is a fresh canvas, and you hold the brush to shape your future. This isn't just poetic, it reflects a scientific truth. Our brains are remarkably adaptable. With repeated thoughts and actions, new neural pathways form, meaning the patterns of yesterday don't have to define tomorrow. When you use the past as a reference, not a residence, you unlock greater creativity, sharper decisions, and stronger resilience. Free from the weight of old disappointments, you move faster toward opportunities and face challenges with agility. Your history shaped you, but it doesn't have to define you. The chapter's already written. Inform your story, but they don't finish it. Each day brings blank pages ready for your authorship. Choose to respect your past without living in it. Take its wisdom, honor its lessons, and step boldly into today, the only place where real growth and change can happen. In doing so, you shift your relationship with time itself, making the past your teacher, not your home. Now, stop neglecting your health. Your body is the vessel that carries you through life's journey. Ignoring its needs is like setting off on a long voyage in a damaged ship. When we choose deadlines over dinner, meetings over movement, and productivity over proper rest, we unknowingly sabotage the very vessel designed to carry us toward our goals. Prioritizing your health isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. In a culture that often glorifies exhaustion and praises pushing beyond limits, this can feel counterintuitive. Yet the truth is clear. Lasting achievement requires lasting, sustainable practices. The human body, this intricate network of cells, systems, and signals, functions at its best only when its basic needs are met. Regular movement, balanced nutrition, and restorative sleep form the foundation of sustained success. These elements work together, each amplifying the benefits of the others. Physical activity strengthens not just muscles, but also cognitive function, creativity, and emotional resilience. Nutrition provides the essential fuel your body needs for energy, recovery, and peak brain performance. Quality sleep consolidates learning, restores cells, and regulates hormones, vital for motivation and sound decision-making. The belief that self-care undermines achievement reflects a misunderstanding of human performance. Peak productivity doesn't come from endless hours of work. It comes from a rhythm of focused effort followed by intentional renewal. The most effective individuals aren't those who grind nonstop, but those who align their work with their body's natural cycles. When you invest in your health, you boost your resilience, sharpen your focus, and strengthen your ability to meet challenges. A well-maintained body handles stress more effectively, recovers faster from setbacks, and thinks more clearly under pressure. These benefits directly enhance your performance and ensure greater longevity in any pursuit. Start with simple, powerful practices. Block time for movement as you would any critical meeting. Prepare nourishing meals that sustain rather than drain your energy. Set consistent sleep and wake times that respect your body's need for recovery. Small, consistent actions create lasting, powerful results. True, Lasting achievement rests on the foundation of good health. The accomplishments that matter most, those that create enduring impact and personal fulfillment, don't arise from brief flashes of brilliance. They are built through steady commitment over years and decades. Seen through this lens, health is an indulgence. It's essential infrastructure supporting your greatest work. Your relationship with your body mirrors your relationship with yourself and your purpose. When you treat physical well-being as optional, it signals a deeper disconnect, a failure to recognize that you are your body, not just a mind occupying temporary shelter. By honoring your physical needs as seriously as your intellectual pursuits, you align with the integrated system you truly are. So choose to journey through life in a vessel worthy of your highest aspirations. Care for it, fuel it wisely, and give it the rest it requires for optimal performance. In doing so, you don't sacrifice success, you create the conditions that make meaningful, sustainable success possible. Now, stop resisting change. Change is life's only constant. Resisting it is like trying to stop the tide, a futile effort. When we cling to what's familiar out of fear or comfort, we shut ourselves off from the possibilities that define this era of transformation. The paradox of human nature is this: we crave stability, yet growth demands change. And these forces are being tested as never before. Embracing change is what opens the door to new opportunities, new growth, and new innovation. Cultivate a mindset that sees change not as a threat, but as a catalyst for growth. This shift in perspective doesn't ignore the discomfort that often accompanies today's rapid transformations, from civil rights movements to women's liberation to the technological revolution. Instead, it reframes these shifts as necessary growing pains, not signs of societal collapse. Just as President Kennedy inspired a nation to reach the moon within a decade, personal growth calls for ambitious vision and a willingness to venture into the unknown. By staying adaptable and open to new ideas, you place yourself in the best position to navigate an ever-evolving world. In this age of acceleration, adaptability may be the most valuable skill of all, even more critical than specific technical expertise that risks becoming obsolete. The ability to welcome new paradigms is your greatest strength in a world reshaped by computerization, jet travel, and beyond. When you let go of resistance, you release yourself from self-imposed limits and step into a realm of endless possibility. Abandoning rigid conventions frees your mind to explore new frontiers. Just as Jacques Cousteau uncovered the ocean's mysteries and astronauts journeyed beyond our atmosphere. Your path to personal excellence is marked by the deliberate choice to release what holds you back and embrace what moves you forward. This doesn't mean abandoning discernment. Not all change is beneficial, as history reminds us, including moments like the tensions of the Cold War, but it does mean approaching change with the same curiosity and courage that launched satellites and placed humanity on the moon in a single decade. Move forward with confidence, knowing each step brings you closer to the fulfillment and success you seek. The road ahead may not look as you first imagined, but it may lead to destinations more extraordinary than you dreamed. Just as Bob Dylan's shift from folk to electric guitar defied expectations and expanded what was possible. Your adaptability allows you to grow beyond limits rather than be defined by them. Remember, in nature, survival doesn't belong to the strongest or even the smartest, but to those most responsive to change. This truth applies just as much to your personal and professional evolution in these transformative times. When you make peace with impermanence and find strength in discomfort, change becomes something that doesn't simply happen to you, it happens for you. It becomes a loyal ally on your journey toward your highest potential. The truth is, your future isn't shaped by what you hope for, it's shaped by what you choose to stop. These 9 habits might seem small, but together, they quietly determine whether you stay stuck or step into your greatest potential. The decision is yours. Keep carrying the weight that holds you back, or let go and create space for growth, clarity, and success. If you're ready to break free from what's been limiting you and finally take control of your path,